that cranked way up. It's like elephant farts.
It does.
It's big fart.
It's deeper. It's big
It's
fart.
a big, deep fart.
Well, it's 50% more fart cylinder.
It's a Texas barbecue fart or a German brat fart. We first drove the RS5 coupe a long time ago. In fact, it was the Smoking Tire's very first one-take style video, which in the last 10 years has racked up over 1.5 million views. Since then, some things have changed, while others haven't.
Audi has added a 5-door Sportback, which is great because objectively it's very effective and more options are good. That 5-door Sportback means they've been able to keep the coupe the same size it's been since it came out 14 years ago, which is resisting the trend of everything must grow. Thank you, Audi.
But they dropped one of the world's greatest V8 engines, the 4.2 TFSI, in order to give us this, the 2.9-liter twin-turbo V6. A change that feels recent, but actually happened 5 years ago. The old V8 had 6 more horsepower and revved 1,500 RPM higher, but made 126 pound-feet of torque less.
If we ran a car company, that decision would have been a no-brainer. The new engine is much more powerful in all ways that matter. It's a second quicker to 60. The torque makes it feel faster at every RPM. It's lighter, and it gets better fuel economy if you're careful. Normal people call that an improvement.
But we are purists, you see. So a 2.9 V6 is all function and no form. And to a purist like us, the better sounding, high revving V8 with benefit of hindsight was actually worth the trade-off in both torque and speed. There, I said it.
Audi heard our placid enthusiasm and decided to do something about it. Now they offer the competition package on the RS5, $16,000, an attempt to turn up the vibe a little bit and make it cooler. It's like when your local barbershop adds a pool table and offers you free beer.
As is true with those chop shops, on paper, the Audi looks good. The big ticket items are the stunning Y-spoke bicolor wheels wrapped in Pirelli Corsa rubber. There's a coilover suspension with, get this, manually adjustable height, compression, and rebound. At its low setting, like it is here, it's 0.8 of an inch lower than the standard RS5. There's also sports sway bars for less body roll, ceramic front brakes, the RS Sport exhaust system, and a bunch less insulation at the firewall, so you hear more of everything. The Sport steering has a fixed ratio, whereas lesser cars have variable racks, making the steering more direct. And of course, there's the Quattro all-wheel drive with a Sport rear differential. Then there's a bunch of carbon trim, blacked out this and that, and Alcantara everything. It's pricey, but there's a lot to it.
So the question is this. The RS5 started as wonderfully engaging, but lacking torque and everyday speed. Then they gave it those things, but it lost flair. Has the competition package brought the excitement back? And is it now the car you want over a BMW M4, Lexus LC500, or Alfa Giulia Quadrifoglio?
Folks, today's video is brought to you by Factor, and it comes in handy for me all the time, particularly today, a day where I have not scheduled a lunch for myself. If you're busy and you want to eat healthy, eat simply, and get things done in your day without having to always think about where your next meal is coming from, Factor is clutch. I can enjoy eating well without the hassle. All you have to do is choose your meals and enjoy fresh, flavor-packed meals delivered to your door, like this chicken and queso and rice. It's ready in just 2 minutes in the microwave. No prep, no mess. They've got tons of nutritious options for keeping the fridge well stocked, like these smoothies and these juices. They're perfect for easy snacking or fillers in between meals, before and after a workout. They've got 34 plus chef-prepared, dietitian-approved weekly options. They're always changing, promotes a healthy lifestyle, and features premium ingredients like broccolini, leeks, truffle butter, asparagus, and more. You can round out your meals with in-between meal snacks, 45 plus add-ons they've got, including breakfast items like apple cinnamon pancakes, bacon and cheddar egg bites, and more. Factor's so flexible that when I travel for work or I've got events or reasons I am not eating at home or the office, I can pause, restart, skip a week, no problem. I can adjust my order size. It's all super, super easy through the web portal. And you guys have a special deal right now. Head over to factor75.com, click the link below, and use code TST50 to get 50% off your first Factor box. 50%. Very solid stuff. Shout out to Factor for sponsoring today's video, and now enjoy. Rice fork microphone. All very tough. I'm into it. This one's good. My absolute favorite thing about this car is actually how little they've changed in 14 years. Mm-hmm. I briefly owned an Audi S5 in New York before I moved out here, and it was an amazing car. And in so many ways, this is still that car. The size, the shape, the vibe, the interior space, the layout, all that stuff is still there. The steering wheel is still round.
The steering wheel's still round.
It's an RS product with a round steering wheel.
It's a racing sport product, and yet the wheel is round instead of flat bottom.
But there is other stuff that's improved. The handling limits of this, as well as the braking limits, are way higher. It feels lighter on its feet. It definitely pushes less. The diff is better, and the torque does make it feel faster in everyday situations, even though, man, that 4.2.
Oh, it's one of the greatest sounding engines ever made. I mean, it's also a fun engine because the red line is so high. It's like it has the good things about an S54 or high revving BMW engine, but it has one of the sounds that's so good.
And look at this, ready? I'm gonna do something amazing. Amazing for Audi, right? Second gear, no upshifting. That sits on the rev limiter in manual mode.
That was one of the things they changed with the new programming for this car, is that it will actually sit at or near redline and stay in the gear you tell it to stay in.
Yes, control. Control, my friends, is what it's about. Now, the interesting thing about this competition package is it has literal coilovers on it.
Right. Like, yeah, the adaptive dampers are gone from the regular RS5.
Which, on the one hand, I actually have to commend them because these things are set pretty stiff and they're set to their lowest setting, right? And this thing squats pretty low.
Well, it sits like a foot. If it's in the lowest setting, it's a full inch lower than the regular RS5. It's a lot. And
considering all of those things, the ride is pretty decent on all but the worst tarmac. Everything but that horrid section of the 405, the ride is pretty good, pretty predictable, and tons of control. So you don't have to give up a whole lot. But for $100 grand, do I really want to have to turn wrenches to change the suspension settings?
Well, are you a commitment guy, Matt, or do you like to change your mind every now and then?
The power. I have to say, good, not great.
Quick, but not, oh my God, fast like the BMWs are.
Right, 444 horsepower and about 4,000 pounds. You're not going to set any lap records. But on a quality back road or when making a pass on the freeway, you can definitely have some fun.
Yeah, any normal person will think this is a fast car. I think that my hunch is that the BMW M cars are underrated. Their power number is underrated.
Well, they're also
and I think
rated
these are
to
accurate.
500.
Well, it's 60 horsepower more, but they feel like a lot more than 60 horsepower. I think this is probably accurate. I mean, this is we should, because this car will do 0 to 60 in 3.4 seconds, which is very quick. But a BMW M4 with xDrive will do it in 2.8.
Right. But we have come somewhere because the original RS5 from 2013 was 4.6. So we've shaved 25% off that. Here we go.
That is true.
So the exception to the rev limiter hitting thing is the 1-2 shift when you do a launch control.
You know what? I'm actually fine with that.
I'm for that.
I hate when I when I launch a car and I'm in launch control mode, and then I realize I was in manual.
Yeah.
You know, it's like it knows what I'm trying to do because of the foot on the brake and everything. But then it gets to the 2-shift, and it's like, well, I'm not sure if you actually wanted to keep accelerating.
You're getting in your own way, sort of like your personal life. That was cold, I know.
That was cold and doesn't actually make sense.
No, I know.
I like the joke.
I
get it.
felt the need to say it.
I'm going to leave it in and leave this in.
I felt the need to say it even though it's not actually true. Also, what they've changed, fixed steering ratio, which provides a more direct steering feel. And you commented earlier that you were a big fan.
I really liked the way it felt, and I got a hint of it on an on-ramp, but I went, no, let's wait till we get the twisty road and actually assess it, and it feels really good. Most cars today have a progressive ratio because it helps you get around parking lots and things, but there is a complete difference in the feeling you get through your fingertips in a linear rack, and like you can trust it. It's predictable all the way around. Do you think because of the VW family, do you think there is some hardware maybe shared with the STO or Technica, the Lamborghini, because they went to a linear rack also?
I doubt it. You know how the Volkswagen GTI has the upshift farts?
Yeah.
This is like that cranked way up. It's like elephant farts.
It does.
It's big fart.
It's deeper. It's big
it's
fart.
It's a big, deep fart.
Well, it's 50% more fart cylinder.
It's a Texas barbecue fart or a German brat fart. It's a beer garden, Oktoberfest level fart.
From a taller person.
And I cannot help but think that they're digital farts.
I think it is too, because when we drove up here, we turned it from comfort to dynamic, and we know they removed some sound deadening in the firewall and all these other things.
18 pounds of it.
It's a lot. That's a lot of sound deadening, but the change in tone we heard.
That guy was hitchhiking? I thought he would like the car. He wanted a ride.
Wow, we do have 4 seats.
With his dog.
We should need the Sportback. But the change in sound was so great when we switched from comfort to dynamic that I just feel like it's probably through a speaker.
You know what I love? The space. This car's got a lot of interior space. Well, front and back for a 2+2.
I love the greenhouse of this. The front visibility is it doesn't feel like there's a big engine in the front the way it drops away, and then also just the greenhouse of the side windows. It feels so much airier and brighter. It's almost like a half measure between Corvette and 911. Yeah. Where like the M4s nowadays, just the belt line's really high and it's very dark inside. Yeah. This feels like a really airy, bright place to be.
It's actually quite a friendly car. It's not like an angry car. It wants to play, it wants to be fun, but it's not trying to like when I talked to Sasha Silipinov, and he said he wants a supercar to look like it's going to storm your village.
Yeah.
This car is not going to storm your village.
No, the M4 they look like they're storming the village.
Yeah, this is a very friendly, approachable car. And even with the sport differential and the farty exhaust and all that, it hasn't gone too far into race car or supercar. It still knows that fundamentally it's a daily driver, and I really like it as a daily driver.
I too must test this acceleration,
yes, you must.
For science. Shifts are pretty quick, 8-speed automatic. It's not a dual clutch, but they are quick enough.
The really good automatics have pretty much gotten there.
Yeah, I think they're 80% of the way.
Yeah.
And it's enough. And to go back to what you were saying before, what I like about Audi is I think they offer a very distinct flavor in the high-performance luxury coupe space. I feel like the M3 and M4 were always the track rat. They were always that car, that person. And I think AMG has started to drift that direction and get quicker and more aggressive because a lot of their luxury executive market went over to the SUV coupe side of things. Yeah. And Audi didn't chase that. Audi just went, no, we're going to keep making a car that is comfortable, fast, smart, and luxurious, but not make things too stiff, not make things too fast or too hardcore. They just didn't chase that Jones. I like it.
The perfect example of that is that they've only put ceramics on the front.
Yeah, that is a weird thing that you pointed out earlier. And when you look at it from a profile, you can't unsee it. It's so out of balance.
On the one hand, it makes total sense. The front does more of the braking. You don't get nearly as much wear on the rears anyway. You might as well save the material. You might as well save the money. It makes the ceramic brake option more affordable. On the other hand, those of us that care about symmetry cannot stop seeing it.
I can't think of another car that does that. Another company.
Only the RS3. Only the other Audis do it. I've never seen it in any other car. And I get it. Same thing as the V6. It makes sense. If you ran a car company, I could see 100% why you would do that. On paper, it works. But if you're at the point where you're buying ceramic brakes, you might as well buy all four.
I don't really like the programming of the transmission in automatic mode. Like when we dive into the corners and get on the brakes, it's a little bit too conservative. It's staying in fourth when I want in third, and then third and second. And manual mode is the way to go, usually is. But I've driven other cars, Porsche especially, where it's not just that it's PDK. It's that the way it listens and almost knows what you're trying to do with the car in that moment, and it knows what gear you want to be in. It's a great co-driver.
Right. So the real question, is this car worth $93,000 to $105,000 with competition package depending on options? It's a lot of money, and $100,000 this year is like $92,000 last year.
Yeah.
Inflation is a thing, but I find it to be a very nice place to be. I think I'd rather be here than an M4. I'd rather be here than an Alpha, and I'd only rather be here than a Lexus LC500 if I needed the back seat once in a while.
Yeah, I agree. I think if you're going to do track stuff a lot, or if that's your id, you should get an M3, M4. It feels more hardcore, it's faster, you can power slide it, it's better suited for that. But if you actually want a luxurious thing to drive around in that's quick, you should get this because it's a little bit more comfortable. And even with this suspension, I think it rides softer than some of the BMW products do.
Yeah, and the fleet people, I'm sure because this is a press car, have set this to aggressive. You can have this suspension and then dial it back for daily driving.
Right, you took out the little knob controller from the case and dialed it down 2 clicks. So they changed a lot of things for the competition package. They changed some hardware, of course, and also a lot of the software in the engine tuning, but also the diff. And it overdrives the outside wheel and makes it really kind of rotate. There was a moment earlier today where we went over a little bit of a hump and I could feel that back wheel step out just a little bit, right there. I'm really impressed by that. One, that I can actually feel it through the seat, which is the most purest 10mm socket douchebag thing to say. But also, this is a car with probably a little bit of weird weight balance, a little bit front biased, and they make it feel like it's really even. It's able to dance through these corners. I mean, the diff combined with this steering, this is a really fun car to take through the canyons.
And going to the 6 from the 8 did shift the weight bias towards the rear. I mean, a little tiny bit, but it did help, it did something.
Yeah, I mean, driving up here, I can tell that the changes they've made have changed the character compared to the RS5 we drove a year ago. Because that thing felt soft and it felt like a fast sedan, but what we came away saying is there's no reason to get the RS over the S.
Right.
Because it didn't have enough emotion to it. This, I think, does stand apart and does feel unique.
And it should be said that when we drove the M4 without the competition package, we said, you should really get the one with the competition package because the one without it was pretty soft.
Very true.
So both this car and the M4, you're going to want the competition package. And if you get both, the price is pretty similar between the two. The M4 is a little more focused for track. This is a little more focused for daily comfort, maybe year-round performance. But as you can see, Still a damn good time
Very
on
good
a back
time.
road.
Very good time.
Yeah.
And when you get to the straightaways, that's when you would notice that you don't have as much power as the BMWs, but it's not slow.
It's not slow.
Not slow.
And without a stopwatch, like,
Who cares?
you're still tripling the speed limits on a back road.
Well, one could.
Allegedly.
One could.
And remember, always fight your tickets. Use code TST10 on the Off the Record app available in the Android and iOS store, or go to offtherecord.com/TST.